Good evening, everyone. Time is now, that was symbolic, 6 p.m., so we will get ready to start off this evening's meeting on February 7th. So we will start off with an invocation from Pastor Jonathan. Are you here from the bridge? Very well, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Baldino. Pastor Jonathan, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So just quickly, I wanted to say what an honor it is to get to be here. I'm fairly new to El Segundo, about 2 years, and it's just an honor to be here and get to, one, say thank you to our public servants, our firefighters, police officers, school faculty, everyone who's a public servant. Thank you for how you serve our community. It's really an honor to be here. So I'll open us in prayer. God, thank you for this time. Thank you for how you cover our city and how you're working in our city, God. We pray tonight that you just give wisdom to these council members, and I pray that you are just guiding this whole process. Thank you for how you're in the inner workings, inner conversations of what makes this community great, how to build this community even better. So, Lord, we trust you. We know you're faithful, God. We're grateful for who you are and for what you're doing in us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, put your hand to your heart, face the flag, repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Jonathan, and thank you, Councilmember Baldino. We'll start tonight. We have two special presentations. You want to do the roll call first? I'm not so sure we want to embarrass him. I'm just going to try and cover and stall for him. But we can do the roll call, Madam Clerk. You're in charge. Al Haig.
Welcome back, Tracy. We missed you.
Thank you. You did miss me. Councilmember Baldino.
Present.
Councilmember Giroux.
Here.
Councilmember Perstek.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pimentel.
Here.
And Mayor Boyles will be with us shortly.
All right, and with that, we will move to our special presentations, which we have two. The first will be a recognition of Black History Month, the Proclamation. The second will be recognition of the Citizens Police Academy graduates. I will read the proclamation for Black History Month. Whereas Black History Month affords special opportunity to become more knowledgeable about Black heritage and to honor the many Black leaders who have contributed to the progress of our nation. And whereas Dr. Woodson initiated Black History Week, February 12th of 1926, and for many years, the second week of February, chosen so as to coincide with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and President Abraham Lincoln, was celebrated by African Americans in the United States. And whereas in 1976, as part of the nation's bicentennial, Black History Week was expanded and became established as Black History Month and is now celebrated all over North America. And whereas such knowledge can strengthen the insight of all of our citizens regarding the issue of human rights, the great strides that have been made in the crusade to eliminate the barriers of equality for minority groups, and the continuing struggle against racial discrimination and unconscious bias. Now, therefore, the mayor and members of the City Council of the City of El Segundo, California, hereby proclaim the month of February 2023 Black History Month, and urge all citizens to join together in making this period of rededication to the principles of justice and equality for all people. Madam Clerk, who will receive this? Is Christina Fajardo here?
Mayor Pro Tem, yes. Christina Vasquez Fajardo, who's the chair of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, is here to receive the proclamation.
Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, esteemed council. It's my honor to be here today. Bear with me as I'm a little bit shy with my still small voice. I'll be reading a statement, and I thank you so much for your grace while I read. Every February, we honor the contributions, accomplishments, and sacrifices of Black and African Americans who have helped to shape our nation in pursuit of racial justice and equity. To this day, we continue this tradition with celebrations, lectures, performances, documentaries, and more to expand our understanding of the pivotal role in shaping U.S. history and culture. We remember the rich cultural heritage, triumphs, and adversities that have ultimately strengthened our America. Every year, a new theme is chosen for Black History Month by the Association for the Study of Black American Life and History, which focuses on relevant topics impacting Black communities. According to their organization, this year's theme, entitled Black Resistance, lifts up the perseverance of Black Americans against entrenched oppression, violence, and discrimination from our nation's founding through today. We honor the generations of Black organizers, thought leaders, scholars, artists, and everyday people, even within our community, who have fought to realize this nation's promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm here today on behalf of the DEI to humbly accept this proclamation in allyship. Allyship, simply stated, is a word that describes the role of a person who advocates and actively works for the inclusion of a marginalized group in all areas of society, not as a member, but in solidarity with its struggle and point of view and under its leadership. One way to honor Black History Month is to seek allyship by challenging ourselves and educating ourselves. I encourage members of our City Council and our El Segundo community to continue to learn about the breadth and richness of the Black experience, and to also look within ourselves in challenging our own assumptions, attitudes, beliefs, in order to bring unconscious bias to light and striving to do better as a society. Learning to be an ally is key to supporting the Black community. Understanding nuances and relearning history are critical components of being an ally. And so when you think about allyship, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to me? Well, I can share a few things that we can do as a community to help as allies. First, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Being an ally also means holding ourselves accountable for the ways in which we have personally contributed to racist systems, whether through unconscious bias or overtly. Too often, we place more emphasis on our intentions rather than the consequences of our actions. And in these situations, there are opportunities for us to learn, grow, and to do better moving forward. Next, listen first, then amplify and uplift Black voices. As an ally, it is essential that we ensure our voice never outweighs who we are supporting. Let's take every opportunity to bring attention to Black voices through reading Black authors, listening for understanding, and or supporting Black media, which is often overlooked. History helps us to understand others. The more we learn about other people, their history, their challenges, their dreams, the better understanding we will have about the obstacles they face, and better allies we can be for them. Finally, let's remember this is more than a month. As a city, I continue to appreciate you and challenge you and implore you to do more for our Black and African American community. Let's normalize diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of the healing process. While our DEI committee has risen to the challenge and to the call, and we strive to affect policy, we can't first affect policy without having courageous conversations about race and how government, you as City Council members, we as a community, in working with government, can help drive our communities to achieve racial equity and advance opportunities through policy changes. El Segundo is a proud member of GARE, the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, so let's continue to leverage resources such as these through our membership to continue to affect change for this great and beautiful city. Thank you so much for the proclamation.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez-Fajardo.
Oh. Oh, just in the nick of time. Look at that. Look at this guy. He came right in. All right. Okay. He handled it. All right, here we go. Couple of photos. 1, 2, and one more, please. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, while you get situated, we have public comment. We have 30 minutes allotted with a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker. Do we have anyone on public? Oh, I'm so sorry, Chief Bermudez. I almost cut you right out of this. This is a test and only a test.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. I'm excited to introduce to you our latest group of graduates from our Citizens Police Academy, Class 11. In July of 2017, the police department started the Citizens Academy program with 14 students. Since then, we've hosted 10 additional classes, and each session is about 15 students. The program is 10 weeks and covers everything from patrol operations, field training, CSI, school resource officers, detectives, SWAT, and the K-9 program. Our goal is to improve communications with our citizens through understanding, respect, and unique experiences. At the end of the program, students participate in academy scenarios, and this is the highlight of the program. Each student, they use that information as to maneuver their responses during these scenarios. I want to congratulate each student who committed their time each week to participate in this wonderful program. And now I'm going to read each person who was in the class. Jerry Alvarado, Ada Hervonen, Gail Cabeza de Vaca, Victoria Hall, Linda McDonald, Judy Scott, Fran Brenner, Val Smith, Kathy Stevens, Shannon Montoya, Missy Mitchell, John Pickhaver, Anastasia Shalamova, and Sammy Smith. And finally, I do want to recognize the 3 officers you see behind me. They worked very hard to make this a successful program. They make each meeting, each session exciting, safe, and very informative for all the students. So that's Sergeant Eric Atkinson, Detective Jeremy Glunt, and SRO, School Resource Officer Josh Gilberts. They have quite a fan base because all the students are here. Anyway, if we could have all the students take a picture with the council, and that'd be nice. All right, come on up.
Let's try it. There we go. I like the using the back row. That's good. That's
We'll be bookends.
All right. Yeah. All right. Let's see now. Oh my goodness. I have to see everybody's face. Everybody, there we go. Everybody's face. Let's see if I can work this out. All right, here we go, guys. And I think so. And 1, 2, one more. And one more. Thank you so much.
Hey, Warner. Yes, I know.
All right. Now, Madam Clerk, we are on to public comment. Again, 30 minutes allotted public comment with a maximum time of 5 minutes per speaker. Madam Clerk, do we have any comments?
We do. First up is Kelly Stewart.
Hello, I'm Kelly Stewart. I'm a resident of El Segundo, and I'm here to ask that the DEI meetings are recorded and streamed. I'm a political junkie. I love to watch meetings. I can't always come to them, and it's also a matter of accessibility. Also, I think the DEI committee is a very helpful committee for our city. It can help bring unity. It's a tool for the future. And I think there's a lot of confusion about what actually goes on in that meeting, and it would help so much if people could just see what's happening. And then it would help with participation and helping us to be part of the conversation. So that's it. I would just like, please record and stream those meetings so that we can all watch. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stewart.
All right, next up, Lindsay Pinkham.
Good evening, council members. I'm looking at page 8 of the City of El Segundo's strategic plan. Goal number 1 is enhance customer service, engagement, and communication, embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion. One way to enhance customer service would be to make committee meetings more accessible to the public. City Council, Planning Commission, and Rec and Parks Commission meetings are live streamed on YouTube and then available online. At my advanced stage, I haven't retired yet. I'm still working as a court reporter, and frequently I work downtown and I don't get home till maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. And I would like to observe the meetings of the DEI committee online, but for some reason, the city has decided not to afford me, a citizen of El Segundo for almost 40 years, the opportunity to do so. So I'm here to please request that you stream those DEI meetings online and then archive them on YouTube or somewhere where we can watch them later on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lindsay.
All right, Luca.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council member. I'm Luca De Matteis. I'm the co-founder of You Harvest, an urban farming company that allows people to grow fresh produce right at the doorstep. In essence, anywhere where there is good sun exposure, water connection, easy access. The power of growing your own food in unused and overlooked spaces, bringing farming back to the city, to me, it's pretty magical. Our system offers a non-permanent garden kit, semi-automated, using a proprietary soil mix that makes it very easy to cultivate, even when not physically present. And because of our drip system, it does it with very little water. we can increase the amount of locally grown food while reducing energy consumption and carbon footprint. By growing their own food, residents can improve health, well-being, save money on groceries, and literally handpick their meal outside their home or on the roof. We have optimized our product after almost 10 years of research right here in Manhattan Beach on our home roof. We have been able to harvest multiple crops with the potential to grow anything with the Zone 10B, which is here in the South Bay. And I can show you a quick. This is what you can see is like 1,000 square feet on our rooftop. And we had so much that we didn't know what to do. We had to share with locals, and we even donated to local restaurants.
You won't be heard by the public.
Sorry. And here, there is a look what it looks like as non-permanent, modular, and can be changed as we wish to install it. This is non-seating. And again, it's like on our roof. So continuing, I was saying the excess production can be traded, shared with others, creating a food system that makes so much more sense. When installed in our rooftop, we provided insulation to the building, reducing the energy costs to reduce our bill. And also we observed that reduced the amount of storm water runoff because the plants absorbed it. And as many of you know, plants can also improve our air quality because of their filtering properties. We believe that everyone should have access to fresh and healthy food, and our goal is to make this a reality for city dwellers everywhere. That's why we're excited to bring our farming solution to El Segundo and work with the city to make the urban agriculture a viable option. We currently have 3 working test locations in Manhattan Beach, and we are looking for a few more partners and spaces for our beta testing program. Again, we are looking for a few more partners and spaces for our beta testing program. And if I understand correctly, there is a lottery process to gain access to a plot in the El Segundo community garden. Well, what if we extend that community garden to other spots, like on top of a parking lot or right outside over here? I mean, you get the idea, right? And when I walked in, I looked at this picture, and I was like, what if in a couple of years, all those spaces show a ton of green because people, they're growing their own produce? That's all I have, and I thank you for your time. I'm gonna leave some flyers, so anybody that is interested can contact me directly, and hopefully we can, make a little difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DiMattis.
All right, next up, Corey Zupo.
Hi, Corey Zupo. I'm here for a public comment on Hyperion. Just a couple things. I had notes, but my kids have my phone, so I'm weaning this. One is just a reminder that the Environmental Committee is here to help, and the more information we have, the more we could advise. That's number one. Number two is I know there's a lot of moving parts. I know that you guys are really active in this. We've been active in this. One thing that we just want as residents is common sense. I'm sure you guys want this too, but the recent order of abatement was about 26 pages long, really detailed, really hard to understand, and asking a lot of things that us residents didn't want, such as once it goes over 27 parts per billion of hydrogen sulfide, they could go out there and spray it with chemicals. It's non-VOC chemicals, which means non-volatile organic chemicals, but that doesn't mean non-cancer. Maybe it does, but that's not what it says. So it's kind of like we didn't ask for more chemicals to be sprayed. We want it to just be fixed. So kind of like what my ask is if we're going to have like a subcommittee on Hyperion, have the Environmental Committee involved, and what we would like to see is a scorecard tracking the progress. I know this is something that you've been asking, but this is like really important because you can't manage what you don't track. And I find it so infuriating that this is just not a concept that the other agencies are grasping. So another ask too is every agency, when they have these orders and these violations, to have an executive summary and a conclusion. We as the public shouldn't have to read a 50-page document and still not know what's going on. I have a background in it, and I still am like, I don't know what they're saying. I have to read that a couple times. Where's the executive summary and where's the conclusion? I have to rely on the Daily Breeze to digest it for me because I don't have 6 to 10 hours to watch a hearing to understand what is impacting my house and my kids. So these are just some of my asks. And lastly, this is not related to Hyperion, but Chevron, is a great partner with our city. They donate a ton of money, but they've kind of been slipping on compliance lately. And I think that's something the city needs to start asking a lot of questions. I'm sure you are, but they've been in the paper a lot about their water compliance. They've had more order of abatements than Hyperion for their, I think it's flare. I can't remember exactly which piece of equipment keeps on breaking. They had 2 flares this week, and it's like radio silence. And so they've spent more on lobbying in California than they do on the Ed Foundation. So, just my ask, I love Chevron, but you need to manage your equipment you currently have. And I know that the political pressure right now is not on petroleum products, so there's not really an incentive to invest in this old equipment. There's more incentive in renewables, but you still got to maintain that equipment because there's residents here. So that's kind of like, and I'm sure I had more that I want to say, but I can't remember it. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zupo. Anyone else, Madam Clerk?
Sir. I don't want to mess this up, but Jamie Griffiths?
Council, thank you for having me here, and the rest of the public. Okay, so I emailed Lance recently and said, hey, we should have you come in and say something in the public comment regarding something going on with El Segundo Little League, right? So I'm here as the current president of El Segundo Little League, so I'm just going to read. The league is bursting at the seams with registrations this year, and because of the makeup of the divisions, we don't have enough field space this year. We have 22 teams across double, AAA, and majors. Last year was the first year we were allowed to use Raytheon for other teams besides Challengers, our special needs division. We were on the field Monday through Friday and on Sundays. We used both diamonds at the same time. However, this year, Raytheon has given their softball league folks the diamonds on Wednesdays and Thursdays, which we have zero problem with because it's Raytheon's property. However, we're being told that we can only use one field at a time instead of the 2 fields like last year. It's something about leaving one open to employee use or something like that. I'd like to say that Ali Mancini and Sean Green have really been pushing back and trying to work it out because they, and we believe the intent about the agreement that the city has in place with Raytheon was more about the city being able to use both diamonds instead of having them sit vacant on the off chance that someone else would want to use it. They got with the city attorney, look it over, see if there's some wiggle room with the wording of the agreement. Ali is not optimistic based on what she's being told regarding the wording. I appreciate that Parks and Rec has really gone to bat for us and tried to get this going to allow us on both diamonds at the same time. But for now, it's just staying that Raytheon is pretty firm in their stance that despite precedent being there last year that we could use both diamonds, that now it's just one at a time. Even though there's a huge amount of space, we could put one team on one on the other. You could have probably 2 AYSO teams practicing in the outfields because there's so much grass. Okay, so that was for that, number 1. Then a short thing for number 2. A year ago, we came to Parks and Rec regarding a product called Game Cam. We want to do live streaming at Brett Field. We went through the process. We know that you, like Parks and Rec, city manager, there was a lot of turnover last year, so things slowed down. Back in September, we went before the Rec Commission, had a plan in place to install a camera over at Brett Field at no cost to the city. Did everything we were asked. We came back. They had a few questions. We came back in November. We got their approval saying, hey, this is a slam dunk. Unanimous vote. Sure, let's live stream. We have processes that we thought out, make sure everything's all good to go. And even Ally and Sean and the rest of the team at Parks and Rec are like, this is gonna be a slam dunk. So since the beginning of November, well, December, after we got approval in the November meeting from Rec Commission, it's like, hey, we gotta get your guys' approval, council approval for going ahead and moving forward. So beginning of December, until now, we've been waiting for this approval, right? So kicked from one meeting to the next. Then we were supposedly gonna be on the agenda at the first meeting of this year, which was canceled, so that's fine. It's, you know, things were going on, right? Then it was like, hey, we're doing the next one. Then I was told it was gonna be at this meeting tonight. Then last week I checked in, and then it was like, nope, it's not gonna be that meeting. It's gonna be on the next one, like 2 weeks from now, on like the 21st. Well, that's cool. I'm all with the process, right? We worked within the process. Everybody has been awesome. However, our opening ceremonies are on the 25th. Wouldn't it be amazing to just have that camera going? It's one camera at no cost to the city. We will run it ourselves. City has access to everything. And we could start that on opening ceremonies day and have it go for the whole season. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griffiths.
Next up is, excuse me, Susan Bowling.
Hi, good evening. Well, much like the Little League, I want DEI recorded. I want a camera in there. I want to watch play-by-play by everything that happens at DEI because I'm interested. And I can't get to all their meetings. And in fact, I can't get to most of their meetings. So, like a couple of speakers before me, I'm just asking you, I think it's a really good investment in our community, for our community members, and we're a diverse community at times, if we can watch that and have access to it. So I don't want to take up a whole lot of time. I just want to ask you to please consider it. And actually, further than that, please support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bowling.
Philip Olu.
Evening, how are you? Hello, everyone. I'm here, I'm a citizen here in, a little nervous. I live here in El Segundo, and I run a business here. And like the previous speaker said, it is difficult sometimes to attend the diversity and inclusion meeting. And I think it would be incredible to have a camera or a recording so that citizens are able to look at the meetings and review the conversations, make comments, also prepare for questions for the next meeting. So I think having a recording is essential. And also, we're in a tech world. We're going where technology is very rampant and moving very fast. And I think if the city adopts those things and those measures, I think we'll be able to have better accountability and better efficient way of making decisions for the city. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Olu.
And the last one is Brett Goodwin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brett Goodwin. I'm a relatively new resident here. My husband, Alan, and I moved here in 2021, and we really love living here in El Segundo. I grew up in Kansas City, just as an aside, and when we were looking at places to live here in Los Angeles, and we saw the George Brett Field, we thought, wow, we have to live here. He was my hero growing up. So I'm here, like many others, in support of the DEI meetings, and I was so happy to find out about the DEI committee. They do really good work, and it makes me want to be involved. But like many other people, it's hard to attend all of the meetings. It would be great to be able to watch them, learn from them. So I hope that we can start seeing them be recorded and available to us. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goodwin. City Manager, any comments?
Okay, yes, please. Okay,
Okay, the number of speakers that spoke regarding the live streaming and recording of the DEI meetings. First of all, let me say there is a DEI meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock here at City Hall, so please, if you can make it, please come tomorrow night. In addition, next meeting, I think I shared this at the previous meeting, we will be bringing the all of the boards and commission bylaws to the council for discussion. And at that meeting, we would be discussing further the possibilities of live streaming and recording all or any of those boards and commission meetings. That'll be at the next meeting.
Will we be able to appropriate funding for that at that meeting, or would it have to be another meeting after that?
We would probably have to set another meeting after that to appropriate the funding. Or
it would be fascinating if we consolidated that.
I think we can consolidate.
More a matter of.
We'll propose in the staff report an additional item, should you choose to live stream to appropriate the dollars. We'll double that up.
Thank you.
Regarding the community garden, the gentleman, I think he just left. We've got his information. I'll make sure that someone from Parks, from Ali Mancini's shop connects with him regarding the community garden question he had. Ms. Zuppo on Hyperion, she left. Well, I wish she had stayed because our city attorney was kind enough to go through that 60-page order by the AQMD, and I'm gonna read tonight really the results, the good results of that meeting, what took place. I've got about a 2-minute statement, if you will, synthesizing everything that came out of that abatement hearing. So I'll report that next. El Segundo Little League.
We'll talk about the agreement?
Not yet. Let me just finish these other. El Segundo Little League, yes. Sorry about that, but it is on the next meeting, 2/21, to approve the camera.
Hey, Daryl?
Yes.
Sorry, Chris. Can we not do a special meeting or something like that? So
Can we do a special meeting?
Yeah, I'm sure the council would embrace that, just to move this thing forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'll work with the city clerk on setting that up. So maybe we can do it sooner. Okay? And, okay, so that deals with all of the comments from the community. Before I go into the statement, you want to share anything?
Hold on.
I'll just address the Raytheon.
Yep.
Do I do I got a comment on the comments?
Yes.
Okay, not about Hyperion though, so.
The Raytheon agreement.
The Raytheon thing, okay.
The agreement provides that the city has use of that between 5 and 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and on the weekends from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and can use 2 fields. It does provide that the Raytheon employees have priority over the softball field. So that's what it provides, and we've been communicating with Ali, and we're going to talk about what the issues are. It had been going relatively smoothly, to my knowledge, but I think we just have to have some conversations about, you know, what. I don't know if the use has increased, because there was a time period where the groups didn't really want to use it, and apparently that's changing.
Okay, I hate to say I told you so on this, but I told you so. I knew when Raytheon sat right there and we let them out of their development agreement, and they promised they were going to give us access and they were going to increase the access, we were going to have everybody here. I knew they would do it for 3 months until the shine wore off, and then it was going to happen this year. So I've run this little league. The problem is you have to plan the entire season out now. You can't wait. And if all of a sudden you're expecting X and you get Y, that's a problem. So they're doing exactly what I thought they would do, which is they give it 1 year, and then once they got what they wanted, it's not so important anymore.
Well, again, I'm just learning of this. Let me.
I hear you.
Look
I'm
at
just
this.
telling you,
But
this is of no surprise to me whatsoever that Raytheon did this.
We do have, and listen, I'm not going to defend whatever Raytheon is doing, not doing. I have no idea, but I will say we do have a binding written agreement with them. They have more property they want to develop, so the city does have rights, and so we'll look into this and see what's happening. The city should be getting 2 fields from 5 o'clock till 9 o'clock in the evening and 2 fields on the weekend all day long. So I don't know why that wouldn't be happening, but we'll check it out.
Ally, have they been responsive or non-responsive? I'm asking a leading question, I know.
Yes, so they had an initial meeting with me, and the terms of the contract are a little difficult because it indicates that we can have 2 recreational fields, and Raytheon is pushing back saying you can have a baseball field and a soccer field, but it doesn't say in here that we have to give you both baseball fields, and they want to keep that open for their, I guess, for their employee use or something of that nature. So that's kind of where the discrepancy is.
The agreement does say that.
It does say that.
It says that they have priority over their
Okay,
softball field.
I get it, but is this a surprise to literally anyone up here right now that this happened this way? It's not to me. I knew it was going to happen when they started talking about it a year ago. I knew it.
Well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's hold them accountable. Let's see what they do. And if you're not getting results, Ally, let's get the city attorney involved. We've got an agreement in place. The spirit was, when we did that deal, we were talking about baseball specifically. That was the spirit of the agreement. I'm sure they're going to want to comply once we escalate this. Let's do that.
We can do that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I know Corey Zupo also mentioned the Chevron thing. Did you want to talk about the event that we got an email, I think, today from Chevron regarding the flaring event? Anything to talk about there?
I've been in interviewing teams all day.
Okay, if I remember correctly, I was in meetings as well. As something to the effect of it was within, there was no notice required because it was within, do you remember? It was within whatever the guidelines are.
It was within their, yes, I'm sorry, I did see that one. It said it were within the regulated guidelines that they're, bound by. So I'll follow up on that, and I'll give Ms. Zupo a call tomorrow to let her know what they shared with us in regards to that.
Anything further, City Manager?
Well, I'd like to, if I could, just get into a few...
Can I have it right
Sure.
here, just for the public so we're clear. Unplanned flare notification, we did not exceed any SCA QMD Rule 1180 fence line emissions monitoring threshold, which we were monitoring closely and would have triggered further public notification if exceeded, and we also did not receive any community complaints. Our process unit operators worked with immediacy to balance the flare outputs so that does not create a heavy, sustained, and visible smoke in association with the limited flaring that occurred. And then as for one dated 2/1, that notification was made as a precautionary agency requirement when we commence certain maintenance activities. Please note that no flaring occurred here at the refinery in association with that agency filing, but on the surface of the public, it does lead to the impression that something could be occurring. That was on the February 1st one, so, okay.
Thank you. Okay, with regards to Hyperion, I do have a couple comments I'd like to share with the community and with the council in terms of updates. As was stated, on January 25th, city staff and the city attorney's office did participate in the Southern California AQMD board hearing regarding Hyperion. The meeting lasted 6 hours, very intense meeting. And out of the meeting, AQMD issued an expanded order of abatement to Hyperion. We did put a copy of that expanded order and a link on our website, and it is 50-something pages. I am happy to say, though, with regards to that particular hearing, that really this new order, for the first time now, contains 28 extremely significant additional conditions. So for the first time, if you recall, there was on September 14th, there was a board hearing where more than 1,000 complaints of odor nuisance were reported to the hearing board, where they issued a stipulated abatement order at that time. In addition, as I said, now on this January 25th board hearing, it was a much more significant, robust order from the board. And we feel, in conjunction with the attorney's office, that if these are all implemented, it should result in the nuisance that's been going on for 18 months being resolved. and measures to help ensure that it does not happen again. So I'd like to share maybe a 2-minute response for the community, which again synthesizes down this massive report. Hyperion must submit a report detailing all equipment undergoing refurbishment or plan to undergo refurbishment within the next year, together with a project timeline for each. This is important so that the residents know what's happening. Will know what's happening at all times. In the short term, to reduce or stop odors from being released at the plant, no later than February 9th, they are to evaluate the viability and potential effectiveness of windbreaks along the eastern border of the plant, and if deemed viable by AQMD, complete installation within 180 days. Again, this is an attempt to assist the residents by redirecting odors away from their homes. It's yet to be seen if it will be successful, but it's a creative step being taken by AQMD to stop the odor problem. They are to install temporary enclosures around the primary clarifiers while the covers are open for refurbishment, maintenance, repair, or replacement. The covers to be installed will be installed by February 1st. Hopefully, the impacts of this will be felt immediately. They are to ensure negative pressures within the primary clarifiers to prevent fugitive emissions and equip all primary clarifiers with differential pressure gauges no later than April 14th of this year. They are to take pressure readings daily and submit to AQMD these measures and other measures to stop odors from being released. So in the short term, these are numerous features now that are being imposed upon Hyperion, and really every one of these measures is to deal with addressing the odor problem. In the long term, which means over the next months and by the end of the year, with regard to most of these AQMD conditions, by March 27th, they are to retain a contractor to design, incorporate, and maintain redundant capacity for all odor control equipment at the facility. Beginning April 6th, they're to prepare monthly progress reports on each of these tasks. This is critical as a redundant measure to stop odors is a new component and will benefit the residents if the primary system fails. By May 25th, they're to install temporary covers on the primary clarifiers, and by December 31st, 2023, they are to complete refurbishment of all the covers and seals on the clarifiers that are online and in service. All the covers and seals are to be refurbished by June 6, 2024. Again, more measures to protect our residents, and the original deadline proposed by the Sanitation District was December 2025, if you recall. So this is an accelerated project. They are to complete the primary treatment chemical scrubbers refurbishment by September 30th of this year. This, combined with the other repairs, that the measures speed up the time frame for resolving potential future and long-term odor problems. Also, by February 8th, they are to submit a detailed report prior to performing the chemical scrubber upgrades, and by October 31st, they are to submit a detailed report after the chemical scrubber upgrades to see how they're working. They are to conduct a root cause analysis upon detection of H2S at levels of 15 ppbs or greater for a 1-hour average. This is AQMD increasing monitoring on a more expedited basis with very short interval goals, which is we've been asking for. Finally, the hearing board is going to meet again no later than June 20th to, among other things, assess the status of each of these conditions. We've been assured that if they do not adhere to these and do not stay on top of the above measures, the board can call meetings even sooner to address these measures. It's been a long 18 months, which is very unfortunate and a huge burden on our community. I really do want to thank the I'm happy to sit here today after the 10 months that I've been here and say I want to thank AQMD for this last hearing and what they've imposed upon Hyperion. I want to thank our residents and staff, and certainly the city attorney's office, to keep the pressure on the city of Los Angeles to fix these problems. While it appears this is a very significant initial victory, if you will, towards ultimately fixing the nuisance created by Hyperion, The city and staff are taking nothing for granted and will continue to monitor the situation daily. Apologize for the long statement, but we felt it was important to at least get these out because these all are new conditions and new abatement orders coming down from AQMD.
Thank you, Darrell, but I want to point out that even though Hyperion is now saying the original completion deadline for replacing the covers is December 2025, when Carol and I went on a tour in November of last year, they did a PowerPoint and told us the completion date to replace the covers would be December of 2024. And I remember I questioned them why it would take so long. They said supply chain, this, that, and the other. So now they come out with June of 2024. Most of their information has been patting themselves on the back of cutting this timeline in half. And when I called them out and showed them the photograph that proved it was original completion date of December 2024, they then changed the date to December of 2025. So I take what Hyperion tells us with a giant, huge grain of salt. And I agree with Corey that we really need to keep on top of this moving target that they're presenting to us.
Absolutely agree with you on, and we certainly will. Again, just wanted to share for the first time, we do feel that some of these AQMD abatement orders are starting to sink in, and we are starting to get a response that is hopefully heading us in the right direction with them.
And also, on those same lines, you know, when they're saying they're going to have covers, temporary covers until the main covers, did they say what material those temporary covers are? Are they just tarps? You know, because right now there was some with tattered tarps, some with no covers.
I was just saying, I believe it is because they're ripping, so it's not.
So if they're just going to put tarps on them, that's not really acceptable. I think we really need to understand what material the temporary covers are going to be.
Good point.
Right, and completely understand the comments, and I think more of the, from watching this and watching AQMD since March of 2022, sort of wrestle with digesting all the information about that plant, this is a huge step for them to get into details, which I'm sure there'll be need to recalibrate, but they're at least at this, I mean, the first order they issued was so vague and kind of illusory as to what was going to happen, because I don't really think they understood or had enough information at that time to do more. So now they are at least putting in concrete dates with things to be done, and then that gives us the ability to watch that. And I do think that they're, again, we're not taking anything for granted. We're a high degree of skepticism with LA as far as staying on task, but you know, this is a big step for AQMD as far as taking a hold of this problem.
So the one other component that I would like to make sure we add is the community outreach if there is a disaster. You know, given the disaster in Turkey that happened today, we need to be prepared. And I know that they've hired a PR company, a PR person, but I'm not confident. And after that tour, after some conversation with them, I'm not confident that the protocols are established to do community outreach in a very timely manner so that our surfers or swimmers are notified in a timely manner of a situation. So I want to make sure that communication protocols are established and really clearly, and give us a copy of it so that we know who to contact or who to find it, and let us, the public, know so that who they should reach out to. So that's one of my big. And then the other thing I just wanted to let you know, I'm usually at the end of Pine around 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoons, and I've been seeing a sanitation person coming, taking readings at the very end of Pine for the last couple of weeks. So.
Okay, great. If I can just two other quick things regarding meetings that we've had with the mayor, staff, the city attorney's office, with Senator Ben Allen, with Assembly Member Al Marisucci, and Congressman Ted Lieu. We continue to work with them and their staffs. We have very active meetings with them as they work together to come up with potential legislation that would directly impact the issues that are going on in Hyperion. Feeling very good about our dealings with them. I know the mayor's been involved in a number of our Zoom meetings with them. They visited the site. And then finally, we actually have, the city attorney and I have a meeting. We're starting to make inroads now with the city of LA for the first time, with the new regime, if you will, at LA, with the mayor, and the new council member, and the new city attorney. The city attorney and I have a meeting with the new LA city attorney's office on February 17th. So we're moving on a number of fronts, and kind of cautiously optimistic that we're starting to get some traction on some of the things we're moving forward on. That's it. Thank you.
One quick thing that, as we go forward, if we start actually getting some of these things ticked off the list of accomplishments, there's clearly a hunger for information, and so I may put Public Works on the spot for that when they say clarifier, I mean, he and I might know what a primary clarifier is and what it looks like, but people like, what does this mean to you? You know, chemical scrubber, what does this mean to you? Just to make it a little bit resonant, without making the meetings 9 hours long and an engineering piece.
Got it. And we are working with Barbara Voss's group to distill the information down to more bite-sized pieces for the public as far as the critical components of the new order. And again, the feedback from the community is great. They, AQMDs that we've watched, it's going to be an iterative process, would be my sense is they want certain things done. Some of these you can tell from the way it's written, they haven't been done before. They're going to try to redirect the air current. Well, that may work, it may not work. Community feedback's great, and the community sending information to AQMD is helpful too. I mean, I watched those and I participated in those meetings. I do think the board members are reading and are paying attention, and I think they're frustrated, and they've gone beyond what I think their own staff initially was going to do. Now, does that mean we're there? No, but there is a group of people there that are, I think, trying pretty diligently to try to solve this problem. Now, doesn't mean they don't need more pushing.
Two quick things. Ryan, were you going to say something?
Nope.
One, I got the sense, I didn't get the sense. Someone member Marisucci was very clear that he would support legislation. So that's a new development last week. And that he also suggested that Senator Ben Allen would be also introducing legislation, so it'd be coming out of both houses and more likely to actually become a law.
Yes.
So that's encouraging. The subject matter expert, we've been working on the contract and retaining on engagement. Did we get that squared away?
Yes, we have.
So did that person participate in this process? Because this seems more technical than what has come before in terms of action items.
He has participated previously, but to my knowledge, because he was out of the country and we just got him back, or we're getting him under contract, I can't say that he's read that yet.
Is the intent for that individual to help hold them accountable? Because they thought they were going to give them access to the plant, right?
Yes, they will be. In fact, we even had another conversation with them about that, and they have agreed to allow him to interact with the staff there at Hyperion, which is fantastic news.
Okay, thanks. That's all I had. All right, we are on to any other comments related to public comments? No, that's good. Okay, we're on to consent. So, any polls from consent?
I would like to pull number 6 and number 9, please.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Baldino. And any other polls?
I have 5 and 7, but just for comment, not really for debate.
Okay. And I wanted to pull 10 for comment. On 10, I'll just say, Joe, great job again, winning another award for Excellence in Financial Reporting. You guys are killing it. I think that's 3 consecutive years. Is that right? Something like that? 6! Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I'm done with that one. Okay, so do we have a motion to approve? Let me see if I get this right here. Items 3, 4, and 8. I think that's it.
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Persick, second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Okay, we'll go to item 5. Mayor Pro Tem.
Wait, quick question. Can you
Yeah.
add 10 to there since you just gave a shout out?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Sorry, quick on item 10. Do we have a motion to approve item 10?
You just repeat and you're good to go.
Is everyone good with item 10?
Aye.
Great.
Aye. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, item 5.
Item 5, notice of completion for fiscal year 21 and 22, concrete improvements project. I wanted to point out that that is a 70-plus location project by Public Works, achieved under budget once again, this time pretty close, only about $9,000 out of a $300,000 budget. But important for the people at home, and this is similar to why I'm pulling 7, is when you write your property tax check, 93.5% of that goes to the county and disappears. And we claw that back with things like using Measure M funding. So all these sidewalks are repaired, and instead of having to spend it out of the general fund, this comes from county money that you already paid in tax. And it comes in 70-plus sites ahead of schedule, under budget once again, sort of unsung heroes that we have toiling there on the streets and in Public Works. So thank you very much. And with that, I will move approval.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. And then we have item 6, Councilmember Baldino.
I wanted to highlight this because I wanted to thank staff for getting this done. Basically, what we're doing is we are changing the management agreement for our pension bond obligations, and we're saving estimated $218,000 over 10 years, $709,000 over 20 years, and $1.7 million in 30 years just over fees. And so I thought that was something that needed to be commented on, and thank everyone for the good work on that. And with that, I'll go ahead and move approval of that item.
Thank you for acknowledging that. I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Then we're on to
Item 7,
Mayor Pro Tem.
The Alondra Park Multi-Benefit Stormwater Capture Project Partnership Agreement. Why this is important is this is the byproduct of a ballot measure, Measure W. Measure W, like a lot of ballot propositions, was sold to you as doing one thing, and it typically does something very different. Measure W is about rainwater recapture. They advertise that every time it rains, 1 billion gallons comes out of the St. Gabriel's and runs into the ocean, and we're magically going to use that to take showers, which of course doesn't happen. But Measure W funding, what it does typically go do is build parks or bike paths or things like this that have about 2 gallons of water involved, and they use Measure W funding for it. So it's a bit of some of the chicanery that goes around with ballot propositions that we all find maddening, except for item 7. So item 7 makes a liar out of me, because we actually have a Measure W piece that is being used to recapture stormwater, and a lot of it, and it's multi-jurisdictional, and the only reason I wanted to flag it is so people understand, once again, when they do their property tax bill and think, what is Measure W? Why is it affecting these things? They can actually see it's going to something that involves the W for water. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I will move approval.
I'll second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay. We are on to item 9, Councilmember Baldino.
Item 9, again, I wanted to just shine a light on this item. This is a 4-month trial period to allow our employees to go to a 4-day, 10-hour work week, which I understand was something requested by our employees here at the city. And I want to thank staff for making this happen and show our employees that we care about them, and they're a big, huge part of our city's success. So thank you for your hard work on that, and I look forward to seeing how the 4-month trial goes. And with that, I'll go ahead and move approval.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Baldino. I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. All right. We are done with consent. We are on to public hearings, and this is related to adoption of annual community development block grant program project selection for 2023-2024. Now is the time and place here to fix for a public hearing. Madam Clerk, has any written communication been received?
No. You have already closed. It's on your script. You've already closed.
I don't have this script in front of me, sorry.
You do.
Oh, this one. You mean the highlighted right here?
Yeah.
Bright yellow. Continued from January 17, 2023. Public hearing is closed. Continued discussion. Thank you. Okay. So staff, is staff going to present?
Yes, Mayor, you said this is a continued item, as you said, from our last meeting, and our Community Development Director, Michael Allen, will start off the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. George. Mayor, members of the City Council, good evening. To pick up where we left off at the last discussion regarding the allocation of the Community Development Block Grant funds, I wanted to make a couple clarifications. I have the exhibit in case we need to reference it, but I did want to clarify that tonight what we are asking for is specifically just the allocation, the authorization for us to go to submit to LACDC to then go design this project. And so the exhibit I had, we were lucky that we had it because this project was previously vetted, which is now different, but we did have that exhibit. It did include some handrails, and I think the feedback that we got was was good and helpful. And what we can do is, if authorization is given tonight to proceed to submit to LACEC to use these funds, we then can go and design the actual improvements, which we will incorporate without handrails that may obstruct view or play. And then that project, once designed, will come back to council for approval. And so I wanted to make that clarification. I apologize I didn't do that very clearly last time. And with that, I do have the exhibit in case we did want to look at it, and I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Does the council wish to see the exhibit?
I think we should look at it just to show the public.
My understanding is where the handrails were kind of in the path of travel, they're going to regrade to eliminate the need for the handrail, make it still ADA compliant, but still keep it an open, free place for parking.
In the future, we would get to deliberate that.
Yes.
And I saved that.
You could deliberate tonight, council, but in the future, when it comes back to the council, we can also deliberate the design. But hearing the feedback both last month and tonight, I'll work with Public Works to ensure that we, particularly locations C and B, because those were specific points of interest, but also points D and A, which currently contemplate handrails because they currently are located where there's already obstructions within the pathway. And so we can bring this back to council, or we will bring this back to council when the designs are more final for consideration. I can go ahead and
So tonight, just to clarify, we're basically doing two things. There's a resolution that the city attorney is going to read a title on, which gives us the ability to use the funds for CDBG and allocate those funds, as you're mentioning. And then also, we'd be authorizing the city manager to designate, as a designee, to execute the contract. So two things. So does the council want to discuss this any further, or are we okay going forward with the resolution?
I'm okay moving forward.
Yeah, there's one thing I just want to make for clarification. So beyond the handrails, because right now the pathway is like a asphalty, kind of gritty path. So someone riding their skateboard wouldn't elect to go down there that path because it's bumpy. But we're actually talking about putting a smooth pathway in there, right?
Yeah, in order to be ADA compliant, it would have to be free of trip hazards.
I'm just making sure that we're clear that once you put a smooth pathway in there, all you're gonna have going down there is skateboarders and bikes. And so I just wanna make sure that that's really our intent for that pathway. Because right now, it's a walking trail, people, and they go into the park. So just be careful. I just wanna, make sure we're going to this with our eyes wide open, because people are going to be flying down that area in their like little bikes and skateboards.
Yeah, we would prefer not electric bike compliant.
Yes.
We'd like ADA compliant.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure we understand that, and that's what the intent is.
Yeah, yes, so the intent is purely ADA compliance, but we're hearing a lot of good feedback so that when Public Works goes to design, we can incorporate measures that maybe discourages freewheeling electric bicycles and skateboarders.
Because that's why, my children grew up going to this park, and we never rode our little scooters on the path because, the kids did, because it's bumpy.
Thank you, Councilmember Perstock. Any further comments? Okay. City Attorney, would you read the resolution by title, please?
Mr. Hensley, I'm sorry, just one quick clarification before you do so. The bottom of the page of the resolution where the city clerk makes their attestation, there's a reference to 2021. I just want to make sure that the record reflects that it is 2023.
Yeah. So noted. A resolution approving the Community Development Block Grant Program for 2023-2024 is ready for adoption.
Who would like to move approval?
I'll move.
Thank you.
Pimentel, second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. All right, next up is a motion authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the contracts. Would someone like to do so?
Pimentel, so moved.
Great, thank you. Do we have a second?
First, second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Okay, great. All right, when will that come before us in terms of the design, roughly? Do we know? 6 months?
Probably about half a year or so.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll need a special meeting for that, very long.
Item 12, review and approve city-owned walls for possible mural locations as selected by the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee. And I have a note that our Director of Community Services, Ali Mancini, is going to present.
Yes. It's fine. Oh, you got it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's okay. All right. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. The El Segundo Cultural Development Program helps provide residential and business community members with public spaces, structures, and experiences that enhance the character of the city through the inclusion of the arts. Artistic and cultural services provided by the program create additional public access to the arts, help drive tourism and revenue to local businesses, contribute towards realizing cultural equity and inclusion, create opportunities for artists and art organizations in the community, and help grow the creative economy. As part of the ACC's 2022-2023 initiatives, City Council approved $35,000 for the Visual Artists and Community Program. The fund established a visual arts program in which 4 visual artists working in the two-dimensional discipline are selected to represent El Segundo each year. 1 visual artist per quarter will interact with the community by leading public engagement workshops for resident, teen, and adults. This visual arts program is overseen by the Cultural Arts Coordinator. The artist selection process and design proposals are vetted by the city staff, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and the ACC. This won't work, Barbara. Can you? One of the visual outcomes identified by the ACC is to develop the city's permanent art collection, adding value and creating an art portfolio for the city. With that in mind, staff are now seeking council feedback on possible walls within the city's infrastructure that could be considered for potential mural locations. City staff have been engaged in developing this list of possible mural locations and will continue to work alongside the Public Works Department and the ACC to see the projects materialize. And now I'll walk the council through a series of slides with potential mural locations. And I'm going to move over here so I can do that. So there are several slides just showing potential locations, so I'm just going to go through them quickly. Okay, so this is at the Gordon E. Clubhouse, wall facing east. There are potential mural locations at the clubhouse. These walls face south. This wall also faces south in that same area. These are additional walls in that same area. You can see there's a lot of space here available for potential murals. This is facing west, a mural alongside the back wall there, or the west wall. This is in that same area along the plaza. So just some different locations here. There's also a potential to do a mural here on up above the lower level of the clubhouse where the preschool meets. These are just some different visuals. Now we're going to take a look at Parks and Rec pickleball court area. There's a wall there. The Joslin Center. And this is the wall that faces north. Then inside the Joslin Center, there's a potential wall for a mural inside the large room, the rec room there. Also on the wall in that same room facing east. Then we look at a couple of options at the water operations. So potentially a mural could be painted at this location. This is high visibility area here. We've also identified a potential location at Fire Station 1, so this is facing east on the back of the station. And then at the public library, the adult area on the ground floor, we could look at potentially doing something on the ceilings. There's also potential space there just below those windows. You can see where the lighting is. And all of that panoramic space there is also available. And then another area above the reference desk there. These are just some different angles. And then downstairs in the youth area, there's currently a textile on display, but that's a potential location as well. And then looking at possibly replacing this current mural, this mural that's there now. And then this is also a mural that's down in the children's area on the north wall. And then this is the wall above the elevator. We also have potential of doing the pergola in Library Park and the columns here. And I believe that's all of the locations. So I also have our cultural arts coordinator, Sam Lee, here. He can answer specific questions about why these locations were chosen or any other questions council might have.
Yeah, thanks, Ally. Good presentation. I like all the ideas. One thing that I do want to go back to then, can you go back to, I think there's that background slide?
To the
And yeah, it's just that this is the Arts and Culture Committee's baby.
That
right?
is correct.
And it's a 9-person committee. I'm a liaison for that committee. I'm also a liaison for the DEI committee, which is also a 9-person committee. I don't understand why we're conflating committees here on this. Why is the DEI involved in a selection process?
I'm going to ask Sam to answer that.
And it's just that you have, the ACC almost by definition is very much in tune with the concepts. So having 9 plus 9, and especially since the DEI has their own work plan that they're working on and one that we're going to have to give them to work on, I'm a little confused as to why they're mentioned in here.
Yeah, so thank you for giving us the opportunity to present. Regarding your question, I wanted to clarify that the DEI's involvement was with the artist selection, not the location, the proposed location.
It doesn't matter. My question is why are we having, the ACC has 9 members on it.
Correct.
Plus yourself, plus city staff. Why do we need to throw another 9 members on for the selection of an artist? Is my question.
No, the 9 members from the DEI were not involved. Only one was selected from that committee.
Okay, so there's a representative from the DEI
Correct.
that would do it. Okay, that's,
Yeah,
that's
so we
a little
had-
bit different.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we had 3 members.
It just looked like, I know how difficult it is to make a decision on things anyway, and all of a sudden we got 23 people in the room trying to figure out what the best thing is for a wall. I was like, wow, that's going to be a problem. Okay.
Yeah, so
understand that.
the
That makes sense.
clarification was really about the artist selection for this year. We selected 4 artists. And
Gotcha.
there were 3 representatives, so one was from ACC and then one was from DEI. and
Okay,
then-
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense now. All right, just the way it was written, I just thought we were going to have a room full of 20 people deciding on a mural, and I'm like, that's going to take forever and a day. So, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So procedurally, do you just seeking our approval for these locations? I can't imagine you're going to paint all these for the $35,000 that's been budgeted.
Well, the $35,000 budget includes, design proposals that we got, and then also we're paying them a stipend for the production of the mural, and also other costs too.
Are you telling me that each of these locations is going to have a mural on it, or you just want our approval that you can pick from these locations?
Correct,
And
yes.
then you'll have so many murals depending on what?
Yeah.
Okay.
We would like to create kind of like a list of real estate that we can then choose and, present these opportunities to future artists. So, because this year it's a pilot program, we had 4 artists selected for this year. And so 3 of them are actually planning on working this quarter, and then we'll have 1 for the last quarter. So that would make up the 4
Okay.
artists. And then by the end of the year, we'll actually have 4 acquisitions that would go into the city's permanent collection.
So I have a couple questions. Will we be able to have like a view of the final design before it gets painted? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, so-
I want to make sure that, I understand that we had a vetting process to select the artist, but I also think sometimes you need to have oversight at the end result just before it goes live so that no one sits there
For
and
the
scratches
actual
their head
art.
saying,
Right.
why did we do
Right.
this?
That's actually a very good
I
question.
just want to make sure that we as a council have that approval process.
Right.
Secondly, I want to make sure that we do not pick the pergola at the library park, because that park is used by many weddings and people taking graduation pictures, and having murals there may not be aesthetic
Okay.
in their photography. So the park is used by many people, and we did need to make sure that we respect that. Then the second thing is, I want to make sure whatever murals we put in, that or locations we identify, we put a life cycle. So one of the things that we always challenge of, we put a mural up there and it's there for 30 years, and everyone's afraid to paint over it. Well,
Right.
no, we need to go into this with our eyes wide open, saying it's a 10-year mural, period, and then we're going to recycle it. That way, so we actually can have constant change, and as the city continues to change, we're being vibrant and we're inclusive how this community changes. This third one is, I want to make sure that there's always an agreement that that the artist does not have rights to the mural, that it's city rights only, so that we can ensure that there is no lawsuits in case we decide to paint over it. And then for my last comment is, as we go through these, I just want to make sure that, especially with the rec park, I would put a pause on any murals with the rec park, given that we are in the process of doing many redesigns there. And I would hate to throw money at something that we're going to have construction, because I know we talked about that area outside the clubhouse. How do we activate that area better?
Right.
And I just want to make sure that we're not putting any effort in there that we're now going to paint over it, and we're going to do something with it. And then, I'm really excited about the library ceiling, because I know that when we first opened up that area, that was one of the comments when we looked up, we're like, hey, that's a
That'd be a
great
good
place for
spot.
murals. So I'm glad that we're actually looking into that area. And I just want to make sure that, I know art, and I'm an artist. I have an art dance school. Like, art is at the eye of the eye of the beholder. And I just want to make sure if we are putting art in an area, that it's aesthetic and it complements the area, and it's not something that's, that's completely controversial.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure, like, if you're going to put art in a library, well, don't make it so loud and bold because a library is supposed to be calming and provocative thinking, and I just want to make sure that our art instills that,
Right.
and complements the essence of the building that it's supposed to be doing.
Right.
Yeah, thank you so much for those are all great points, and we're being mindful of all those issues. And I think, in terms of making sure that the public gets to see it, and we want to ensure that it's not going to be offensive and be sensitive to the audience. And so, we have all of that, we're being mindful of all those issues. And so, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my vote is, I liked everything other than put a pause on the rec park areas that we're looking at doing a redesign, because I just don't want to waste money. And then definitely not on the library park, in the pergola area, because people too many pictures are taken there.
Carol, good points, Councilmember Perstock. Do you want to move approval then with those 2 caveats?
Yes, does anyone else have any other caveats? Is there any other areas? I would start with areas like the, behind by the, I love the idea of the water tower area,
Right.
that's a great area, kind of like the wrap that we did up here.
Right.
Maybe there's some concept we could put a bigger, something bigger and bolder there rather than some little places.
Right.
But, so I'll move approval if anyone else.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? I'll second Councilmember Perstook. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you so
Really
much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mrs. Mancini. All right, we are on to the item 13.
Drew,
Yes, ma'am.
excuse me, we need to go back to item A. We did not approve to read all
Item
ordinances.
A, oh, thank you. Selecting locations.
No, item A. We're
I
gonna
am
read
just
all
shocked. You know, I'm just
ordinances
shocked.
by- I believe you were in charge at that time.
I'm just, the usurper took, you
Oh,
saw
I
him take
wasn't
his
here
gavel.
then.
I
You
do not
saw
believe
him
you
take
had the
his
gavel
gavel.
at that moment.
Completely off your game today, Pittman.
I would like to read all ordinances and resolutions on the agenda by title only.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We never
5-0,
have these
Madam
problems
Clerk.
on planning commission. Just throwing it out there. It's like a machine.
All right, item 13. Announce appointment to the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, and we're excited to announce Valerie Green has been appointed to the DEI Committee, and has she been told, if when she starts and all that good stuff, logistics? I think that's Ms. Shia's. Great. And Mrs. Green was part of a round of interviews we did, I don't know, several months back, if I recall correctly. It might have been before you were here, Councilmember Baldino.
Yeah, it was before I was seated.
And super qualified, and we continue to get amazing applicants, so we're excited about that. Okay, we've got a couple.
Can I just make one comment?
Yeah, of course.
I just want to congratulate, thank the city staff on the outreach, on the committees. We've had some amazing quality people, and I'm just really excited for the engagement from the community. We had a lot of applicants for the investment committee, for the arts and culture, and I know we have the planning commission coming up, and I know we have quite a few applicants, 10 applicants there. So I'm just, it's so wonderful to have the community engaged, and so obviously we're doing something right. The communication's going out, so thank you, Barbara, and your team, and just the city, and I'm just really happy that we have the community engaged.
Thank you, Councilmember Perstock. Also, thank you, Councilmember Giroux, for the recommendation to have the city treasurer involved in the Investment Advisory Committee. That was a good idea, and he added a lot of value. He's going to be up in a minute. Before then, though, any reports from the city clerk?
No, I'm good tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Anything from the city treasurer outside of the report? No. Okay. We're on to item 14. This is the investment portfolio report for December 2022. We've got our elected official, City Treasurer Matt Robinson, presenting.
All right. On? Oh, yeah, I think I'm just going to sit here if that's okay with everyone. Okay, this will be pretty quick because it was a pretty tame quarter in terms of new investments and changes to the portfolio. I imagine in 3 months it'll be different, but first thing I'll get into, I think it's a lot easier to look at the investments by security types. This is how the portfolio currently looks. About 40% U.S. Treasuries. That was something that we started implementing 3 months ago or so, and we're trying to look a lot like the cap-weighted index and mimicking what we see around the industry as well. We have a lot of money in CAMP, which is a short-term stable NAV fund that's actually returning 4.5% right now. So that's kind of where we're keeping our short-term cash, waiting for opportunities, which we'll be getting into in the coming months. This is the laddering that we're working on. Ideally, those green bars are all going to be the same height, meaning that we're diversified across the different years. We have started to get into 2028 with purchases in the last couple months, a number of CDs. CDs tend to lag the market, and rates have been coming back down a little bit, so we've been pretty heavily involved with CDs in the last couple months, although in the last week, they've climbed about 40 basis points pretty much across the board. So we have some more opportunities ahead of us. And then also within each year, we want to be somewhat stable with all the colors, I guess is the easiest way to put it, just to kind of diversify across the asset classes by year. This is a lot of the same. This is the portfolio, which obviously we could spend a lot of time going through each one of these positions, but I'm not sure that's a useful way to spend our time. So there's only one transaction. This was a CD that we bought for about $250,000, yielding about 5%. Thing I want to call out on this slide is that we're actually starting to get some interest. The rates have been going up, obviously, and in the fourth quarter, we got about $700,000 in interest, and that number will continue to climb in the coming quarters, almost certainly. Actually, is there anything else in? Okay, obviously important that we're meeting all of our compliance objectives. We changed a number of these max weights recently, but obviously everything you see, the weight is under the max weight, so good to go there. On the ratings, at time of purchase, we want to be A or better. There's a few that have dropped. We've gone over these in the past, but they're still all investment grade, considered some of the most safe bonds that you can get into. LAIF, we're largely out of LAIF and into CAMP because that's the better kind of liquidity instrument that we have. But LAIF has started to gradually come back up. It's in the mid-twos right now, but still not really a good place to put money. It's stuck here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so just how the city looks. In December, we generally run a surplus, as well as the beginning of each year. You can see that the next few years we'll probably be having more in than out. So there'll be a big kind of investment period for us up until the POB payments in June. And you can see that big drop in the net change in cash by month. So the orange line was last year, and that was kind of what we expect to be the new norm going forward. So we have that big $10 million outflow in June. Tend to have 12-month rolling cumulative positive, which is a good thing. That means that we're typically doing pretty well from an investment and a budget standpoint. The economic environment, probably the most interesting part of this whole thing, is kind of where are we and where do I think we're going, if that matters. So you can see the yield curve. The green one is the one that's most relevant, which was the end of December. Important thing here is that is inverted. We've spoken about this a little bit in the past, but the 1-year rate is about 4.6% as of the end of December, but the 2-year rate is 4.39. And so we've talked about the inverted yield curve being an indicator of recession, and to kind of give you an idea of why that is, the fact that the 2-year rate is lower means that the bond market is telling us that in 1 year, they expect the 1-year rate to be lower than it is today. And for that to happen, that means that they expect the Fed to lower rates. And so why would the Fed lower rates? They're lowering rates to stimulate the economy. Why would they want to stimulate the economy? That's probably because we would be in a recession. So that's why the whole yield inversion happens, is that the bond market is thinking that we're going to have to raise rates to stimulate the economy because we're in recession. Most people think that we're going to be in a recession at some point this year. This is where rates are. We're at about 15-year highs still. Rates have come back a little bit, but I mean, it's a pretty good time to invest. Like I said, we're going to be getting, between 4 and 5% yield on whatever we purchase at this time, and so we're doing our best, especially considering the fact that they think that we'll be in a recession, but they also, and for that reason, we'll be lowering rates, even though Powell actually said that he didn't think that we would lower them at any point this year. I think most people are betting against that, actually. So, in light of the fact that we think that all the data are telling us that rates are going to be lower in the future, we are really making an earnest effort at the Treasury Department to buy longer dated bonds, like 5-year bonds, to take advantage of the fact that rates are high right now. This is the negative inverted yield curve. So you can see that it's almost as low as it's ever been. So red is not good here, at least in terms of what it's indicating. Inflation is starting to come back down. During Chairman Powell's speech the other day. He mentioned that the disinflationary process, not to be confused with deflation, is underway. The market is thinking that the five-year inflation number is still going to be around 2%. So the market is also betting that we're going to tame this inflation that we've been seeing. And then this is kind of just a general survey of what we look at. This is kind of what was available somewhat recently as to what we can invest in. And you can see that most of the things we're looking at are between the 4 and 5 range. The fact that the yellow series is kind of going down shows that, again, that the yield curve is inverted. The spread between the orange and the yellow is not really significant, especially at the short end of the yield curve. So we've really been kind of buying CDs up in this area, which is pretty nice because they're guaranteed. And this is a dashboard that I look at when we're looking to buy new issues, just to kind of show where we're at from a compliance perspective and what's available. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, City Treasurer. Any questions, comments?
Hey, on the year-on-year cash flow, our debits were significantly higher last year. Was there a significant spend that we no longer have to commit to? I remember December 2021, we were at, I don't know, I gotta go back here.
Let me bring that up.
$11 million or something. Yeah, but 11.7 last year and only coming in on 10.9 this year. Is there something that we're doing different budgetarily?
Are you talking about what?
Oh, and our rolling cash flow, just the year-on-year.
This one?
Nope.
No. That one?
Nope, keep going. One more lightning bolt. There we go.
That guy.
Yep. So our debits were 11.7 in December of 2021, and we're 10% less last year. I don't know if we.
Oh, December. Oh, I see. Yeah. Dino, do you have any comments on that? Do you? December of last year. So right here, we basically have about $1 million less, close to $1 million less. I feel like there's a slew of reasons that could be.
December of last year would have been our first interest payment on the pension obligation bonds. That was about 1.7 million-ish.
Okay.
That could have been part of it.
That could have been a chunk of it.
That was something that was new that we did not have prior Decembers.
Okay. Almost set.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Okay, we are going to recess into closed session, and then we will be back for the remainder of open session after we conclude closed.